92 million people. That's the number flashing across global headlines. The busiest airport on Earth, breaking records again. But something about this record feels off. Because this doesn't feel like a celebration. It feels like motion without direction. For years, Dubai sold a dream. Luxury, stability, a future built in the desert. And now, the numbers say that dream is bigger than ever. But the reality tells a different story. Because not everyone arriving is staying, and not everyone leaving is coming back. This isn't a tourism boom. This is circulation. A system where people move in and move out faster than ever before. The airport is full. But the question is, what about the city? Because when you step outside the terminals, the energy feels different. This is the paradox no one is talking about. More movement, but less connection, more arrivals, but weaker routes, more departures, and shorter stays. We've been trained to believe one thing: more people means more success. But what if that equation is broken? What if high traffic doesn't mean prosperity anymore? What if it means something else entirely? Because when people feel secure, that they don't move this much, and when people feel uncertain, they don't stay still. This is not growth. This is movement driven by something deeper, something harder to measure, and easier to ignore. The illusion is powerful, because on paper, everything still looks perfect, but reality doesn't live on paper. It lives in behavior, and behavior is changing. The world's busiest airport is no longer just a gateway. It's becoming a signal that something beneath the surface is shifting. Because when a city depends on constant movement, it also becomes vulnerable to it. And if that movement ever changes direction, everything changes with it. So the real question isn't, why are so many people coming? The real question is, why does it feel like no one is staying? Because sometimes the biggest numbers hide the biggest warnings. Step outside the airport, and the story begins to change. The noise fades, the movement slows, and what you feel is something unexpected. This road, once the heartbeat of ambition, now feels slightly out of rhythm. Because Dubai was never built like a traditional city. It was built like a system designed for flow, not for permanence. And that's where the crack begins. Dubai is a city of arrivals, but not always a city of belonging. Nearly everyone here came from somewhere else. And deep down, many know they will leave. This is the transient city, where life is built around opportunity, not roots. People don't settle here. They position themselves here, and when opportunity shifts, so do they. They come fast. They leave faster. Because beneath the luxury, there's a different kind of pressure. A system where financial mistakes aren't just setbacks. They can become turning points. In many parts of the world, debt is manageable. Here, it can change everything. And when risk increases, people don't wait. They exit. Not slowly, but suddenly. And sometimes, they leave things behind. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Apartments, leases, assets, symbols of a life. Paused mid-sentence. This isn't collapse, not yet. This is something more subtle. Fragility. Because when commitment is temporary, everything becomes temporary. Homes feel like hotels. Careers feel like contracts, and cities start to feel like transit zones. Dubai mastered speed, faster growth, faster money, faster life. But speed has a cost, because what's built quickly can shift quickly, and what moves fast rarely stays long. This is the hidden truth behind the skyline. Not a broken city, but a sensitive one. A system that works perfectly as long as movement never stops. Because the moment people hesitate, the cracks begin to show, and once they start leaving, the illusion becomes harder to maintain. Dubai wasn't built to hold people forever. It was built to attract them, and that difference changes everything. Now let's talk about the pressure you don't see. Not in the skyline, but in the numbers. Because behind the luxury, there's a cost, and that cost keeps rising. Housing, lifestyle, everyday living. In a city built on premium, everything comes at a premium. A simple breakfast feels like a luxury experience. A night out feels like an investment decision. And over time, that pressure builds quietly. Because Dubai doesn't just sell comfort, it sells image. And maintaining that image comes with a price. Now compare that to a city like London. Yes, London is expensive, but it offers something different. History, depth, a sense of permanence. In Dubai, you get perfection. But sometimes perfection feels temporary, because when value is based on perception, it depends on belief, and belief can change fast. This is where real estate enters the story. Dubai's property market isn't just about living, it's about investing, buying, not to stay, but to hold, to flip, to profit. And that system works as long as new buyers keep coming, because liquidity is everything. The ability to sell when you want to sell. But what happens when that flow slows down? Pressure. Because assets without buyers are just numbers, and numbers don't create cash flow. At the same time, tourism is changing. More visitors, but shorter stays, more movement, but less commitment, which means less stability for the system underneath, because Dubai depends on three things: retail, tourism, real estate, three pillars, holding up one vision, but all three share one weakness. They depend on sentiment, how people feel, how confident they are, and how long they're willing to stay. If confidence rises, everything grows. But if confidence drops, everything feels it. Spending slows, investments pause, people hesitate, and hesitation is dangerous for a system built on momentum, because this entire model relies on continuous flow, continuous spending, continuous arrivals, continuous belief. And the moment that flow weakens, pressure builds beneath the surface, not instantly, but inevitably. This is the truth most people ignore. Dubai doesn't fail suddenly. It reacts gradually until one day the system feels heavier than it looks, because on the outside, everything still shines, but underneath, the pressure keeps building. And that leads to one final realization: this system works perfectly until it doesn't. Now step back and look beyond Dubai, because the real story isn't happening in one city. It's happening across the region. A new race has already begun. And leading that race is Saudi Arabia. Massive investments. New cities rising from nothing. Projects designed not just for today, but for the next 50 years. Places like Neom aren't just competing with Dubai. They're redefining the idea of a city itself. Because this time, the focus is different. Less about speed, more about sustainability, less about image, more about longevity. And that shift changes the entire game. Because Dubai mastered one formula: build fast, grow fast, scale fast. But the new model asks a different question: what happens after growth? At the same time, nature is asking its own questions. Dubai's environment was never passive. It was controlled, but control has limits. In 2024, the desert flooded, not slowly, but suddenly, a year's worth of rain, falling in a single day, exposing something deeper, that even the most advanced systems can be overwhelmed. And this isn't just about one event. Extreme heat is rising. Seasons are shifting. Living here is becoming more demanding. Cooling systems work harder. Costs rise further, and the city enters a loop. The hotter it gets, the more it consumes. The more it consumes, the hotter it becomes. Now, combine that with economic pressure and global competition and shifting perception. And suddenly, the question becomes unavoidable: can a city built on ambition alone survive long term? Because ambition builds quickly, but sustainability builds slowly. Dubai chose speed. Others are choosing resilience. Dubai chose scale. Others are choosing balance. And now, the world is watching both at the same time. Another layer is surfacing: the human cost. For years, the system worked quietly, but today, perception is changing. People are asking harder questions about labor, about ethics, about sustainability, because luxury alone is no longer enough. Meaning matters now, and cities without meaning struggle to hold people. This is where everything connects. Economics, environment, human reality, all pointing to the same truth. The future won't belong to the fastest city. It will belong to the most sustainable one. So what makes a city truly valuable? Is it height? Is it luxury? Is it speed? Or is it something deeper? Because in the end, people don't stay for buildings. They stay for stability, for meaning, for belonging. And that's the shift happening right now. Dubai may not disappear. It will still stand. It will still attract. But the dream people believed in is already changing. Because the future is no longer about building faster. It's about building smarter. And the cities that understand that will define the next era.